The lantern on Kate Brennan's barn roof had burned for 6 long months. Folks in Clearwater called it madness, said she lit it to summon her dead husband back through the winter storms. But tonight, the truth shows itself in a way no one in town ever dared imagine. When Cole Hartley rode across the ridge, he saw that flame steady, fixed, unshaken, burning in the exact same spot, as if it were a signal mapped out in advance. And in the thin snow around the barn, he spotted hoof prints with a missing shoe. The kind left by a hired gun who prefers watching from the dark instead of leaving a name. One look was all it took. Kate wasn't calling the dead. She was calling the living. Someone brave enough to face the truth the whole town tried to bury. Before we continue, let me know where you're watching from. The Montana wind came down like God's own warning, sharp enough to cut breath, mean enough to test any soul still walking the earth this Christmas week. Snow hammered the Brennan homestead sideways, gnawing at the barn doors, rattling the loose boards, clawing for any slip of warmth. But the woman climbing the ladder didn't flinch. Not tonight. Not after 6 months of the same climb. Kate Brennan pressed a hand to the lantern's brass frame, shielding the match from the wind with her body. Her coat snapped behind her like a torn flag. One strike. Dead. Another. Sparks stolen by the gale. The third caught, flickering against her palm like a dying prayer. "Hold," she whispered, as if the flame could hear her. "Please, hold." Below the barn roof, her daughter Lily watched with wide, unblinking eyes. The girl didn't hear the wind screaming. She rarely heard anything at all. But she felt the vibration of each gust, saw the ladder tremble, saw her mother's breath mist in desperate bursts. Her small hands signed fast, shapes sharp with fear. Careful. Wind. Mama, careful. Kate nodded without looking down. She lifted the lantern higher, letting the wick take, letting the glow swell from a flicker to a steady hum of gold. A single star pinned against an ocean of white. On good nights, it burned straight. On bad nights, it guttered sideways. But tonight, like the 6 nights before it, she would make it burn. She had promised her husband she would keep the truth alive. She had promised the Lord she would not let the dark win. And promises still meant something out here, even if the town had forgotten. Far up the ridge, a lone rider paused his bay gelding. Cole Hartley tightened his grip on the reins, lifting his field glass to his eye. The storm blurred most shapes into shadows, but not that lantern. Never that lantern. He had seen it 3 nights running, same hour, same stubborn light, burning steady as a heartbeat. "Ma'am, whoever you are," he muttered into the wind, "you're either braver than the rest of Clearwater, or in a world of trouble." His breath froze on the glass. He wiped it with his thumb, scanning the yard. No movement. No smoke from the chimney. Just the lantern. Just the girl at the base of the barn, huddled in a coat too big for her, watching her mother fight the night again. Cole lowered the glass. A memory he'd tried burying stirred. Another winter. Another widow left to fend for herself. Another time he rode past, because he thought a man's trouble wasn't his business. He still carried the weight of that mistake. Down below, Kate finished securing the lantern's hook. The glow threw light across fresh tracks in the snow, tracks that didn't belong to her or the girl. Hoofprints, circling wide, deep, heavy. She swallowed hard. "Inside," she said, climbing down as fast as the rungs allowed. Lily signed again, faster now. Someone came. Someone watched. "I know," Kate breathed. "Hurry." They crossed the yard at a half-run, boots fighting the snow. The door groaned as Kate barred it shut. The house was cold enough to sting their fingers, but inside the floorboard near the stove, right beneath Kate's heel, was the satchel. The papers. The only proof the sheriff refused to take. The only reason she thumped her lantern against God's sky each night like a woman trying to wake heaven. Lily tugged her sleeve. The girl pointed toward the window, toward the lantern glow dancing across the frosted glass. "He'll see it," Kate whispered. "If he's still alive. If he's still looking." The girl signed a single shape. "Who?" Kate's jaw tightened. She knelt beside her daughter, brushing snow from the child's hair. "Someone who believes the Lord doesn't turn away from the widow and the fatherless," she said quietly. "Someone your father trusted." Lily pressed her face against Kate's coat. Her breathing trembled. She lifted two shaking fingers to sign. Cold. Scared. Kate held her tighter, staring at the lantern's glow outside as if it could steady her. "We survive tonight," she said. "We keep the light burning. That's how we fight." But miles up the ridge, Cole was already turning his horse toward Clearwater, snow ripping at his coat. He had planned to ride straight to the next camp, survey maps tucked under his saddle roll, mind on the new railroad line. He had planned not to stop, not to get involved. But that lantern, steady, defiant, wasn't a signal a woman lit for hope. It was a signal lit for help. Cole kicked the gelding into motion. The horse surged downhill, hooves digging through drifts. The storm swallowed him whole. Behind him, the lantern burned on the Brennan roof, bright as a fallen star, bright enough to guide a man into someone else's fight, and maybe, God willing, bright enough to pull them all out of it. Cole Hartley rode into Clearwater with the storm snapping at his coat like a stray dog. Morning light hadn't broken yet. The lamps along Main Street still burned low, weak as tired eyes. He tied his gelding outside Talbot's store and brushed the frost from his sleeves, each motion stiff from the night ride. Inside, the stove barely held a glow. Folks gathered close to it, hands out, backs turned, so they wouldn't have to look at strangers. Cole stepped in. The room shifted just enough for him to feel it. "Morning," he said, tipping his hat. Only Mrs. Talbot nodded. The others offered nothing but silence. Thick, practiced, the kind that meant more than words. He walked the aisle slow. Flour, nails, lamp oil, beans. Prices chalked higher than last month. He noticed that too. He also noticed the cluster of farmers leaning near the post office board, whispering low, "Crazy woman. Lantern again last night. Ought to take the child someplace safe." Cole's jaw set. He didn't turn. Not yet. He picked up a tin of coffee. The bottom was dented. He grabbed another. Worse. He set them both back. The bell over the door chimed. Cold air rushed in with two figures, Kate Brennan and Lily. Kate kept her chin level, shoulders squared, carrying the quiet like armor. Lily clung to her sleeve, signing quick shapes that only a mother could read. Kate nodded once, guiding the girl toward the back shelves. The store went so still Cole could hear wood crackle in the stove. Mrs. Talbot cleared her throat. "Morning, Mrs. Brennan." Kate offered a small nod. "Morning." And that was all. Every other head turned away, eyes dropping to boots, sacks, anything but the woman and her child. Cole watched Lily pull a sack of flour from the lower shelf. Too heavy, she strained. Kate helped without a word. The girl signed something. Fast, urgent, cold, hungry. "We need more." Kate whispered, "We'll make do." Cole felt heat rise in his neck. He'd seen that tone before. A woman trying to stretch $1 across 10 miles of winter. He walked closer. "Ma'am," he said lightly, tipping his hat again. Kate froze a split second, just enough to tell him she recognized him from the ridge. Her gaze flicked over him. The frost on his collar, the mud from the North Trail, the tired horse he'd dismounted. "Mr. Hartley," Mrs. Talbot murmured, stepping near him. "You don't need to get involved." He didn't answer. He knelt instead, picking up the small tin Lily had dropped. The girl's eyes widened. She signed a shy shape. "Thank you." Cole blinked. He signed back, awkward, stiff, but recognizable. "Welcome." The girl startled, then smiled, slow, bright, like a lantern catching wick. Kate drew in a sharp breath. She didn't smile, didn't soften. But her guard slipped half an inch, enough for Cole to see the exhaustion under her eyes. "You're passing through?" she asked. "Was," Cole said. "Storm changed that." She nodded once, non-committal, polite, untrusting. He reached for a coil of rope on the shelf. The price tag made him wince. He put it back. "Town's quiet this morning." Kate didn't look at him. "It's always quiet." Cole knew better. Quiet towns either hid kindness or hid fear. Clearwater didn't look like the first. Behind them, one of the farmers muttered loud enough, "Maybe Sheriff ought to check that barn again. Lantern business ain't right." Another man answered, "If she weren't behind on payments, folks wouldn't talk." A third added, "A child shouldn't freeze because her mama's lost her mind." Lily stopped signing. Her shoulders locked. Kate's hand closed around the flour sack like she meant to crack it in half. Cole straightened. That's a hell of a thing to say in front of a child. The farmers didn't look up. Didn't have to. Their silence was its own kind of smirk. Mrs. Talbot hurried over. "Please, Mr. Hartley, don't start something." He didn't. He just walked to the counter, placed his items down, and added 2 extra sacks of oats and a tin of dried apples. "For the lady behind me," he said softly. Kate stiffened. "No, thank you. We can manage." Cole didn't argue. He didn't ask. He simply turned to her and spoke through the cold air between them. "Storm's getting worse. Roads'll ice by noon. Best get home before then." Kate hesitated, caught between pride and survival. Then came the crack outside. A snap, a groan, a shudder of wood. Everyone turned toward the window at once. Kate's wagon axle had split clean through. Half the wheel dropped sideways in the slush. Mrs. Talbot gasped. "Oh, Lord." Kate set her jaw. Lily clung to her coat. The store went dead still again. Cole exhaled once. Well, he muttered, stepping out the door. Guess the good Lord made that decision for us. He crossed the street in 3 long strides, dropping to one knee beside the wheel, the cold biting through his pants. The bolt had sheared. The wood was dry-rotted. The wagon wasn't moving anywhere without help. He didn't look back at Kate when he said it. "Ma'am, you're not getting home alone." Cole crouched beside the broken axle, brushing slush away with the back of his glove. The wood had split jagged, fibers splayed out like a burst rib. Not fresh, not accidental. Too clean a break for weather alone. Behind him, Kate stood with Lily pressed close to her coat, both half-shadowed by falling snow. Townsfolk watched from porches and doorways, pretending to mind their business while not missing a thing. Cole touched the bolt. Loose. Looser than it should have ever been. Somebody knew where to hit, he murmured. Kate stiffened. What? He didn't answer. Not yet. He unhooked the strap knife from his belt, scraping frost from the metal clasp. The hinge sagged. Wood rotten around the seam. He could almost see a boot heel bracing the wheel, a hand wrenching the bolt in the dead of night. Lily tugged Kate's sleeve. Sharp, urgent signs. Danger. Someone did it. Not accident. Kate hushed her gently, but her eyes flickered. Fear, calculation, memory. Cole stood. "Ma'am, you got a bar of iron at home? Something you use for fence repairs?" "We don't use much iron anymore," she said quietly. "Costs too much." He nodded once. That told him everything. He knelt again, hands deep in the slush, found a chunk of rock big enough to use as leverage. "You can't fix that," one of the farmers called from the porch. Cole didn't look up. "Wasn't asking." He wedged the rock. Pride. The wheel lifted an inch, enough for him to slide his shoulder under. The cold crawled down his collar. Snow burned against his neck. Kate stepped forward. "Mr. Hartley, stop. You'll hurt yourself." "Already hurts," he muttered. "Might as well finish the job." He braced the wheel with his knee, loosened a length of leather from his saddlebag, and cinched it tight across the split wood. A weak fix. Temporary. But enough to roll. If the road stays flat, he told himself, if the storm doesn't get worse, if whoever loosened this bolt isn't waiting on the trail, a stack of ifs, too many. Finally he stood, brushing snow from his hat. "You'll make it home if you take the ridge road slow." Kate's lips parted, more disbelief than gratitude. She wasn't used to people helping without strings. "How much do I owe you?" she asked. "Nothing. That's not how this town works. I'm not from this town." She hesitated. Lily looked between them, then signed a small, hopeful shape. "Come for supper." Cole blinked. The girl repeated it. 2 hands, palm in, circling outward. Kate flinched. "Lily, no. It's fine," Cole said gently. "I understood." He didn't know why he said it. Maybe because a child asked. Maybe because a lantern had burned 3 nights too steady to ignore. Kate drew a slow breath, trapped between pride and necessity. "Mr. Hartley, we don't have much. I don't eat much." She looked away. "The road's ice fast. It's a long ride back for you." I'll manage." Her shoulders lowered just a fraction. consent in the smallest form. She reached for the wagon's reins. The wheel creaked, straining under the patched leather. Cole walked beside it anyway, one hand hovering near the axle, ready if it buckled. The farmers faded back into their doorways as they passed. Whispers carried on the wind. He's a fool. Gets close to her. Ends bad. Girl saw too much. Cole kept his stride even, but each word hit its mark. At the edge of town, he stopped. Trail bends left at the split. Take the ridge. Less mud. Kate glanced at the sky. Storm's thickening. Yes, ma'am. Lily signed again, quick, fierce. Come, don't go away. Kate looked down at her daughter, startled. Lily rarely insisted, rarely pleaded. Snow clung to Cole's lashes. His breath came white and harsh. He could walk away right there. He'd done it once before. Rode past a woman needing help because he thought her trouble wasn't his burden. He still carried that shame. He touched the patched axle lightly. I'll follow behind you. Make sure you get home before dark. Kate swallowed. Why? He met her eyes, the first time without looking away. Because a child asked, he said, and because that lantern of yours isn't burning for decoration. For a heartbeat, the storm quieted. Just the three of them, the broken wagon, the ridge trail waiting like a question. Kate finally nodded. All right. They started up the road, wheels crunching ice. Cole mounted his horse, keeping a slow distance behind the wagon, watching the lantern strapped to its side sway like a frail sun fighting winter. Every few yards, Kate looked back, as if checking whether he'd vanished. He didn't. Some promises don't need speaking. They announce themselves in the snow. Kate's wagon groaned all the way up the ridge, the patched axle whining like an animal trying to stay alive. Snow thickened, drifting in slow sheets across the narrow trail. Cole stayed half a horse length behind, riding light, eyes scanning every stand of pines and every ripple in the drifts. More than once he saw the girl glance back at him. Quick looks, small breaths. The kind children take when they're measuring whether the world is safe for one more minute. By the time they reached the Brennan homestead, dusk pressed low. The barn hunched under a skin of frost. Smoke wavered thinly from the chimney, too thin for comfort. The kind of smoke that came from a fire running out of wood. Kate guided the wagon to a stop. We're home, she said, voice low. Lily signed something sharp. Cold. Hungry. Kate's shoulders tensed. I know. Cole dismounted, boots sinking into snow up to his ankles. Wheel held better than I expected. That's luck, Kate replied. No, ma'am. Luck doesn't tighten bolts. For a moment their eyes met, hers wary, his steady. Something unspoken passed between them. Something about broken axles that weren't accidents. Something about hoof prints circling a barn at night. Lily tugged Cole's coat. She signed once, simple. Inside. He nodded. If your mama's willing. Kate paused at the doorway, hand on the latch. Don't expect much. Never do. Inside, warmth scraped by on the bare minimum. The wood stove hissed with a few crooked sticks. A pot simmered on top, thin stew with more water than meat. The house was clean, painfully so. Every object had its purpose. No clutter, no excess. Survival didn't allow for either. Cole removed his hat slowly. Lily looked up at him, studying his face with a seriousness older than 9 years. She signed, "Sit." He obeyed, lowering himself to the small table. Kate ladled stew into 3 chipped bowls. Steam rose in tired curls. She set one in front of him. "You don't have to," he began. "We share what we have," she said. "Always have, even when it's not enough." He nodded. "Then thank you, ma'am." The first few bites were quiet. The kind of quiet that held the weight of a family trying to survive without drawing attention to themselves. The storm tapped the windows lightly. The lantern outside flickered against the barn roof. Cole noticed the photograph on the shelf. A man with a strong jaw, wind-beaten face, eyes that told the story of a man who worked hard and loved harder. "Your husband?" Cole asked softly. Kate didn't turn. "Daniel. He looks like he took care of the place." "He did." Lily reached toward the photo, fingers brushing the frame. She signed a small circle. "Papa." Kate lifted her chin at that. Not pride. Not grief. Something sharper. A blade edge. Cole kept his voice even. "Storm's bad tonight. Lantern'll barely stay lit." "She'll stay lit," Kate said. He heard the steel in her words, the kind that came from someone who had walked too far into loss to let anything, wind, cold, death, snuff out the last thing she could hold on to. "Mind if I ask, why the same hour each night?" Kate lowered the ladle. "Because someone is supposed to see it." Cole didn't move, didn't breathe. "And did they?" he asked. Kate finally turned. Her eyes were shadowed by months of sleepless nights. "You did." He felt something shift inside his chest. Just a fraction. Enough to make the air taste colder. Lily tapped his hand to get his attention. She held up a piece of paper, a drawing. Her drawing. Cole leaned closer. The picture showed a small house under heavy snow, a tall barn, and atop its roof a lantern drawn big and bright, surrounded by thick strokes of yellow. But what caught him wasn't the lantern. It was the second figure drawn on the ridge. A man. Watching. "That's me," he murmured. Lily nodded, signing quickly. "3 nights. You looked." Kate inhaled sharply. "You saw it that many times?" Cole didn't deny it. "Couldn't sleep. Storm kept me up. Light was too steady to be chance." Kate stepped closer, bowl still in hand. "What did you think it meant?" "That someone needed help," he said simply. Her fingers tightened around the bowl's rim. "Most folks think it means I'm losing my mind." "Most folks are cowards," Cole replied, calm and hard as winter. The room went still. Lily reached for him again, signing another shape. "Safe." Kate swallowed. "She doesn't say that often." "What does it mean?" "It means she wants you to stay until the wind dies." Cole nodded once. "All right." Kate returned to the stove, but her hand trembled just enough for him to notice. She steadied herself quickly, setting the pot down, breathing slow. Outside, the lantern flared as the wind shifted. Cole watched it through the window, steady, defiant, impossible to ignore. No lantern burned like that unless someone was calling for help, and no man with a conscience rode away from such a call. The stew simmered low, barely more than warm water and courage. Snow smacked the windows in hard bursts, the kind that made the walls breathe in and out. Cole felt the temperature dropping with every gust. Wood would run out before morning. Kate wiped her hands on her apron and crossed the small room. She paused near the stove, eyes locked on the lantern glow outside. The flame swung in the wind, steady, bright, too stubborn for a widow's hope. Cole set his empty bowl down. "Your husband, Daniel, he die in the winter?" Kate didn't turn. "He died in the truth." That answer settled heavy between them. Lily leaned against Kate's side, signing something fast. Her fingers trembled. "Tell him. Mama, tell him." Kate shook her head slightly. "Not yet." Lily insisted, tapping her mother's sleeve. Harder this time. Cole watched them. He'd seen men argue without saying a word. This felt like that, only sharper, more desperate. Kate finally exhaled. "Fine." She walked to the stove, knelt, and slid her hand beneath the loose floorboard. Cole heard the soft scrape. She lifted a satchel wrapped in oilcloth, old, stained, tied twice for safety. "This is why the lantern stays lit," she said quietly. Cole didn't move, didn't blink. Kate opened the satchel. Papers, maps, a handful of brass casings, and a torn page from a survey ledger, ink smudged, signature missing. Cole felt his stomach drop. "You showed this to the sheriff?" he asked. "He said I was hysterical." Her voice cut like a saw. "He said Daniel probably misstepped. That winter makes fools of all of us." Cole picked up one of the casings, .45 caliber, not hunting rounds, closer to lawmen and hired guns. "Where'd you find these from?" he asked. "By Daniel's body. Sheriff claimed he never saw them." Lily pointed to the map, finger tapping one spot, over and over. Cole leaned in. The spot was where the new railroad line was supposed to cut, right through Brennan land, right through her water source. "Your place is the only easy pass between the ridge and the creek," he murmured. "Blackwell wants it." Kate nodded. "Daniel told him no. 3 days later, Daniel died." She handed Cole the torn survey sheet. "Look at the bottom." Cole squinted in the dim lamplight. The name line was ripped off cleanly, but he recognized the handwriting above it. Familiar. Too familiar. "Damn," he breathed. Kate watched him. "You know something." Cole set the page down slowly. "I know the man who signs reports like this, or used to. My brother." Kate's breath caught. "Thomas?" Cole didn't answer. He didn't need to. His silence said enough. Lily signed again, urgent. Trust him. He saw the light. He came. Kate faced Cole fully now, the fire from the lantern mirrored in her eyes. "Why didn't you ride on? Most men would." Cole leaned back in the chair. His boots creaked. His shoulders hurt from miles of cold. Saw, too, many signs that weren't for decoration. 3 nights? She asked. He nodded. 3. And you thought what? Cole lifted the brass casing. Thought somebody needed a witness. Kate closed the satchel carefully. tying each knot with trembling fingers. Daniel tried. He went to Sheriff Moss the night before he died, came home with a split lip and no report filed. Cole felt the slow, dark rise of anger in his chest. Not loud, not wild, the cold kind, the kind winter men carry. "Sheriff Moss is tied to Blackwell," he said. "Everything in this town is tied to Blackwell." Lily moved closer to Cole. She signed something he had to watch twice to understand. "Someone came back last night." Cole's pulse kicked. "Hoofprints around the barn?" Kate's jaw tightened. "Not mine. Not Lily's. Not Daniel's horse. Someone else's." Cole's mind flicked through possibilities. Hired riders, bank agents, survey enforcers. Men who didn't care about law because they believed they were the law. "Did they try the house?" he asked. Kate shook her head. "Not yet." Another gust rattled the windows. Snow surged sideways across the glass. The lantern swung harder, its flame stretching thin. Cole stood. "They'll try soon." "They already tried." Kate lifted the satchel. "Sheriff Moss told me if I kept lighting that madness, he'd take Lily for her safety." Cole's breath left him, slow, controlled. "That won't happen," he said. "You don't know that." "I know Moss. Men like him use fear, paperwork, and God's name wrong." Kate blinked once. "So what happens now?" Cole looked at the lantern outside, at the dark line of trees beyond the barn, at the tracks in the snow he'd seen earlier that didn't belong. "You keep that light burning," he said, "and I'll see who comes to snuff it out." Kate stared at him, weighing him against months of silence, mockery, and danger. Finally she nodded. "Then you'd better stay awake." Lily pressed her hand to Cole's coat. "Stay." Cole placed his hand over hers. "I'm not going anywhere." Outside, the lantern flared against the storm, bright, stubborn, defiant. A beacon, a warning, a promise. Cole didn't sleep that night. He sat by the window with his coat still on, boots planted, rifle across his knees. The lantern on the barn roof burned steady through the storm, too steady for nature. Every shift of wind made the flame bend, but it never bowed. It held like a heartbeat refusing to quit. Toward dawn, Cole stepped outside. Snow swallowed his tracks instantly. The air cut sharp. He checked the barn, hoofprints again. Fresh. A circle wide enough for a man who liked watching, but not acting yet. He followed the trail a few yards. Not enough to give away his route. Just enough to confirm what he suspected. Paint horse. Left front shoe missing. Someone sent web. He returned to the house. The stove hissed low. Kate poured water into a kettle, eyes bruised from a sleepless night. Lily dozed against her arm, the girl's hair tangled from worry. "You're heading out?" Kate asked quietly. "Need to see what the town's saying," Cole replied, "and what they're planning." She hesitated. "Be careful." "Always am." "That's not what I meant." He met her eyes. She held his gaze longer than last night. That alone told him how deep the danger had sunk. Cole saddled his horse and rode toward Clearwater. The storm had eased, but the cold bit harder, meaner. He passed fences bent under ice, smoke rising thin from a handful of chimneys. The kind of morning where men hid behind their coffee cups and hoped trouble rode past. Trouble didn't. It stopped right in front of him. A buggy rolled out from the bank. Polished wheels, fine horse. Two men riding beside it, hired types, coats too clean for honest work. In the back seat sat Henry Blackwell himself. The man looked carved from winter oak. Smooth coat, gloves tight, hair slicked back so neat, even the wind seemed afraid to muss it. His eyes didn't blink enough. Predators didn't need to. "Mr. Hartley," Blackwell drawled, tipping his hat with a politeness sharp as a blade. "Fine morning." Cole nudged his horse just enough to meet him at the center of the road. "Cold one." Blackwell smiled, the kind that never reached the eyes. "I understand you've taken an interest in one of our residents." Cole said nothing. The buggy wheels creaked as the hired men shifted. One rested a hand near his coat. Not on any weapon. Just close enough to remind a man what might be there. "Kate Brennan is a troubled woman," Blackwell continued. "Lost her husband. Losing her land. Lantern on the rooftop. Disturbing good folks' sleep." Cole kept his jaw still. "Didn't disturb mine." "I'm sure." Blackwell's smile thinned. "But men who get close to her tend to meet unpleasant ends. Town can't afford more tragedy." The warning hung cold as icicles. Cole's fingers tightened around the reins. "I fix a wagon and suddenly that's getting close?" "In Clearwater," Blackwell said softly. "Looking twice is close enough." Cole leaned, forward in the saddle, his voice even, quiet. "Then maybe Clearwater's looking at the wrong things." One of the hired men stepped forward. "Careful, Cowboy." Blackwell held up a hand. Now, let's not turn this into something unseemly." He shifted his gaze back to Cole. "Your brother understands how these matters work. He's reasonable." The frost in Cole's lungs turned solid. "Thomas." He didn't say the name. He didn't have to. Blackwell watched his reaction with the pleasure of a man checking a box. "Yes, Mr. Hartley has been most accommodating in his work for the railroad. Very understanding of our needs." Cole's voice thinned to a wire. "You leave my brother out of this." "Oh, he's already in it." Blackwell tapped the buggy rail. "Survey reports, land values, rights of way. He signed quite a few papers, important ones." Cole felt the world tilt, not from surprise but from confirmation of the thing he feared. Blackwell leaned closer, voice dropping. "Take advice from a man who has shaped this town for 20 years. Ride on. There's nothing here for you but snow and sorrow." He snapped the reins. The buggy rolled past, wheels cutting perfect curves into the ice. Cole watched until the sound faded. Then he rode back toward the ridge, with the weight of a new truth pressing his shoulders. Thomas was tangled in this mess. Whether knowingly or not, Blackwell meant to use him. The closer Cole drew to the Brennan homestead, the colder the air felt. The lantern still burned on the barn roof, stubborn as a prayer against the storm. Kate opened the door before he reached the steps. "What happened?" Cole pulled off his gloves, breath raw. "Blackwell knows I'm here." Her face tightened. "What did he say?" "That men who come close to you meet bad ends." Kate didn't flinch. "He's not wrong." Cole stepped inside, shutting the wind out. "And he mentioned my brother." A silence fell. Heavy, loaded, dangerous. Lily peered from behind Kate, eyes wide. She signed a small, frightened shape. "Bad men." Cole crouched, answering with slow, clear motions. Yes. Close. Lily swallowed hard. Kate steadied herself, one hand gripping the table. What do we do now? She asked. Cole glanced toward the lantern's glow on the frosted window. We stay awake, he said. We listen for hooves, and we make damn sure Blackwell doesn't think he can choose who lives or dies on this ridge. Outside, the lantern flickered once, then burned brighter, as if defying the dark. The storm broke the next morning, but the cold sharpened to a killing edge. Cole stepped out before first light. Snow cracked under his boots like thin bone. The sky glowed a bruised gray. Too still, too quiet. Quiet meant someone was waiting. From the barn came the faintest tremor, cattle shifting, restless. Cole eased the door open. Lily stood there in her oversized coat, cheeks red from the cold, hands tight around a bucket. She signed, quick and anxious. They're scared. Cole nodded. Animals know before we do. Kate emerged behind her, rubbing her arms. Her breath showed in bursts. We should move them to the inner pen. Storm left the fence weak. Before Cole could answer, a sound knifed through the still air. A snap, a shout, then gunfire. Down! Cole barked. Kate pulled Lily into the barn just as bullets punched into the snow and the outer fence blew apart. Cattle shrieked, bolting in a wild churn of hooves and steam. Cole swung around the barn door, rifle raised. 3 riders tore through the far side of the pen, firing into the air, driving the herd toward the creek. Not just any riders. One on a paint horse with the left front shoe missing. Webb. Damn, Cole hissed. He fired once. Warning, not killing. The shot cracked the cold, ricocheted off a rock, sent one rider ducking low. They didn't slow, didn't even look back. Kate stumbled beside him. They're taking the herd, every last one. Stay down, Cole snapped. But she didn't listen. She ran toward the broken fence, boots slipping on ice. A rider saw her, kicked his horse hard. Snow sprayed. Kate slipped, fell to one knee. The rider swung his gun around. Cole fired. The bullet struck the post inches from the man's head. The rider cursed, yanked the reins, veering off. Kate! Cole lunged forward, grabbed her arm, yanking her behind the trough. You want to get yourself killed? They're taking the herd, she choked out. That's everything we have left. Not worth your life. It is when we can't pay the bank. That hit deeper than the cold. Lily scrambled beside them, hands flying in frantic signs. Don't go, Mama hurt! Kate winced, pressing her sleeve to a bleeding scrape on her elbow. But she kept staring at the vanishing cattle, at her future disappearing into the white. Cole scanned the riders. Too far now, too fast. Chasing would leave the homestead unprotected, and they knew it. He watched the herd thunder downhill like a black river through the snow. Watched the riders cut them toward the creek bend. He had to choose. Chase the herd, or protect the woman and child who'd become the center of this whole damned storm. He tightened his grip on the rifle. We stay put. Kate jerked her head toward him, eyes blazing. We can't just let them. We can, Cole said, words clipped, firm. Those men want you more than they want cattle. She froze. The truth hit hard, too hard. Lily pressed herself between them, small hands trembling on her mother's coat. Cole lowered his voice. Cattle can be replaced. You two can't. Kate's breath hitched. Just a fraction. enough to betray how close she'd been to running straight into a bullet for a handful of sickly cows. He guided her back inside the barn, rifle up, eyes still on the ridge. The riders vanished into the tree line, the herd with them. Inside, Kate braced herself against a stall post, shaking from fury more than cold. "They do this," she whispered. "They take little pieces until there's nothing left." Daniel tried to fight it. Sheriff said he was imagining things. Lily signed sharply, jabbing motions. They were here last night. Same tracks, same horse. Cole knelt to her level. "You're sure?" Lily repeated the sign, harder this time. Kate's eyes burned. "I saw hoof prints after Daniel died. Same pattern. Same missing shoe." Cole's jaw clenched. Blackwell sent Webb to finish the job. "And he will," Kate said. "Once we're broke." Cole stood, pacing the barn once, boots grinding hay into the dirt. "We need proof, real proof, something they can't bury." Kate lifted her chin. "Mrs. Talbot. She saw Daniel the night before he died." And Moss silenced her. Cole stopped. "But she's still alive, and scared." Lily tugged his coat again. Another sign, small, careful. "We run." Cole shook his head. "Not yet." But the word hung in the cold air between them. Yet. Kate closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, they were clear, cut glass, sharp with resolve. "They'll be back." "They will," Cole answered. "And next time, not for cattle." "No," he said. "For you. For her." A beat of silence. Then Lily signed one more shape. Slow, heavy, promise. Cole rested his hand on hers. "I'm here." Outside, the last echo of hoofbeats faded. The wind carried them into the trees. The Brennan homestead stood stripped, poorer than dawn, but alive. For now. By afternoon, the wind had changed. Not warmer, just shifting direction, the way trouble does when it's bored of waiting. Cole checked the barn door twice, then 3 times. The cattle were gone. The silence they left behind felt louder than any gunshot. Kate stood on the porch with Lily beside her, both stiff, both listening. "They'll talk about this in town," Cole muttered. "They always talk," Kate replied. "Just never to me." Almost on cue, a figure appeared at the bend in the road. A bundled shape in a thick shawl, boots dragging through snow. She kept glancing over her shoulder as if expecting death or shame to catch up. "Mrs. Talbot." Kate stiffened. Lily tightened her grip around her mother's sleeve. Cole stepped forward. "Ma'am." She flinched at his voice, then hurried toward the porch. "I can't stay long," Mrs. Talbot whispered, breath fogging hard. Her eyes twitched, scanning the tree line. "If Moss or Blackwell's boys see me here—" "No one saw you," Cole said. She didn't seem convinced. Her hands trembled as she clutched the shawl tighter. Kate opened the door. "Come inside." "No." Mrs. Talbot shook her head. "If I go in, it'll mean I chose a side." "You already did," Kate said. The woman swallowed, staring at her boots. "You're Daniel." "He didn't fall. I saw him talking to Sheriff Moss that night. Daniel was angry. Moss was angrier." Cole's pulse kicked. "What else?" "The gunshot." Her voice cracked. "I heard it. 10 minutes after Daniel walked off toward the ridge. Kate's hands curled into fists. Mrs. Talbot kept going, words spilling under pressure. Blackwell came to my home the next morning, told me I misheard, told me the wind lies in winter, told me grief makes a woman hysterical. Lily tugged Cole's sleeve, signed once. Liar. Cole nodded at her. Mrs. Talbot leaned closer. But I remember the shape of the man on the ridge. Tall, broad shoulders. The same silhouette I saw again 2 nights ago. Kate's breath froze mid-chest. 2 nights ago? Mrs. Talbot nodded. Someone's been watching your lantern, not just the cowboy. Cole felt the truth slam into place. Webb! Before they could speak, another figure trudged toward them from the left trail. Mrs. Chen, carrying a sack of flour hugged tight to her chest like contraband. She didn't climb the steps. She just hissed. Your house was searched. Someone went through your barn. They're looking for something. Kate's fingers twitched. The satchel. Cole cut her off. It's still where you hid it. Mrs. Chen glanced at Lily, then back at Cole. Men who came asked about a light, asked if we ever saw you signal anyone. I told them no. She thrust the flower forward. Take this. I won't be back. Not for a while. Then she hurried off, shawl shaking like she carried fear bleeding through the seams. Kate stood still as the snow around them. They're tightening the noose. Cole looked around, wind shifting, trees restless, birdless silence. Means they're scared. Or close, Kate whispered. Lily signed something rapid, urgent, her hands hitting Cole's coat with small, sharp taps. Someone found it. Paper. Fell. Cole crouched. What paper? Lily hesitated, throat bobbing, then signed a shape that felt like a gut punch. The small one. From the book. Map piece, too. Cole's blood ran cold. Where did you drop it? Lily pointed toward the woods. Earlier, Kate said, realizing it at the same time, when she was feeding the chickens. She dropped the paper, Cole murmured, and someone picked it up. Kate's face drained. That map shows the witness route, shows where Daniel walked, shows everything. Cole stood, jaw locking. Then Blackwell knows your plan. The world seemed to shrink around them. Kate inhaled, sharp. We have to leave. Lily's hands flew again, faster, desperate. Leave now, now, now. Cole grabbed his saddlebags. Pack only what you can carry. No wagons. Too slow. Kate rushed inside, grabbing blankets, the satchel, her husband's coat. Lily shoved bread into her pockets, hands shaking. Then, out of nowhere, Lily froze. Her expression shifted, like ice cracking under weight. She signed slowly, each motion heavy as a verdict. Whoever promises to protect, dies. Kate's breath hitched hard. Lily. But Lily held Cole's gaze. Her hands didn't shake. Not this time. Don't promise. Just do. Cole swallowed. I'll do what's needed. Lily stepped forward quietly, pressing her forehead to his coat. One small, warm gesture. One plea without sound. Snow began falling again, thin flakes like ash. Cole pulled the door open. We move in 5 minutes. Kate grabbed Lily's hand. If we stay, we die. Cole finished. The lantern burned behind them, bright, defiant, right up until the wind shoved hard enough to make the flame jump sideways, a warning flare before running. They left the homestead the way hunted things leave a field, quiet, fast, already knowing they won't come back whole. Cole scanned the ridge one last time. The lantern still burned on the barn roof, a stubborn spark against the gray morning. It flickered once, bent by the wind, then held steady, almost like it was watching them go. "Move," Cole said softly. Kate tightened her scarf. Lily clung to her mother's coat with one hand and the satchel's strap with the other. The snow came up to her shins, too deep for a child, too heavy for a family already bleeding time. They pushed toward the tree line, boots sinking, breath snapping white in the air. Cole led, cutting a path where the drifts were weakest. Every few steps he looked back, checking prints, checking shadows, checking the slope below. Halfway up the ridge, Lily stumbled. Cole caught her before she hit the ground. Her foot was stiff, too stiff. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't answer. She just winced, silent, teeth clenched, shoulders shaking. Kate knelt beside her. "Her feet are freezing." Cole peeled back the girl's boot. Her sock was soaked, toes pale blue like river stones left in winter. "Damn it," he muttered. Kate looked at him, fear sharp as glass. "What do we do?" "Hold her steady." He stripped off his own dry sock, wrapped it around Lily's foot, and pushed her boot back on. "This'll buy a little time." Lily signed something small, cold, "Hurts." "I know," Cole said gently. "You keep moving, you'll keep your toes." He lifted her into his arms without asking. She weighed almost nothing, lighter than she should. The kind of light that came from too many nights eating too little. Kate walked beside them, eyes flicking downhill every few steps. "Cole, the tracks." "I see 'em." The wind skimmed across the slope, revealing faint lines, fresh horse prints, zigzagging toward the homestead they had just abandoned. "They're following your trail," Cole said. "Not ours yet." Kate swallowed. "Yet." They climbed higher, boots slipping on frozen stone. The ridge narrowed. The trees thinned. Each breath felt sharper, colder, heavier. Lily shivered against him. Cole cinched her closer. "We don't stop," he said. "Not until we're over the pass." "And then?" Kate asked. "Then we decide if we want to live or die on someone else's timetable." Kate pressed a hand to the satchel strapped across her chest. "They know what's inside." "They know enough," Cole replied. "That's why we move fast." A crack echoed through the woods. Kate froze. "What was that?" Cole turned, rifle half raised. "Branch, or someone testing distance." They pushed harder. At the crest of the ridge, the wind hit them full in the face, mean as anything that lived in Montana in December. Cole set Lily down for a moment. She leaned against him, breathing hard, legs trembling. "We're almost there," he said. Kate looked back down the slope and went pale. A figure broke through the trees below. Then another. Riders. Too close. Too fast. "Cole, I see 'em." He grabbed Lily, slung her up against his chest, and pulled Kate forward. "We cut across the shelf. It's narrow, but it'll slow them more than us." Kate didn't argue. She followed, slipping once, grabbing at the rock wall with numb fingers. The shelf hugged the mountain's side, barely 2 boots wide. Snow blew off it in sharp waves, revealing raw stone beneath. One misstep meant a 20-foot fall. Lily's hand gripped Cole's collar tightly. She signed against his coat, shaky, scared. Cole breathed through the cold. Me too. It was the truth. Hoofbeats thundered far below, growing, echoing off the rock like a warning drum. "Cole!" Kate whispered sharply. "They're gaining!" He risked a look. The riders were closer now, one leading the others, horse breath bursting in clouds as they climbed. Paint horse. Left front shoe missing. "Webb," Cole growled. Kate's voice tightened. "They won't stop until—" "I know." The shelf widened enough for 3 steps of solid ground. Cole set Lily down. "We gotta move faster. I'll take the lead. You hold her hand." Kate grabbed Lily's hand. Lily held hers back, but her knees buckled. She couldn't run. Cole's jaw locked. "Kate." "I know," she said, voice hoarse. "I know." He hoisted Lily again, cradling her with one arm, the rifle in the other. The girl's head pressed against his shoulder, breath ragged. Then, another crack. This one wasn't a branch. A bullet sparked against the stone beside them. Kate flinched. "They're firing!" "Keep moving!" Cole ducked behind a jut of rock, shielding Lily as another shot hissed through the shelf's edge, ripping snow into a white flare. He peeked out. The riders were almost at the narrow choke of the trail, but they couldn't fire well there. They risked falling. That gave Cole maybe a minute, maybe less. "Up," he said, pushing forward. "We reach the northern fork. After that, they'll have to circle. It'll buy us time." Kate nodded, breath tight. Lily signed against his coat, trembling. "Don't stop." "Not planning to." Snow blasted across the ridge, stinging his face until his eyes watered. But he kept going. He kept going because the ridge narrowed again, because the path dropped out from under them into a sharper climb, because the world behind them was full of men with guns and a missing horseshoe horse, and because the only way out was through the mountain. The wind didn't just cut now, it carved. Each gust slapped the ridge sideways, stealing breath, stealing balance. Cole pushed through anyway, Lily tight in his arms, Kate 3 desperate steps behind him. Below them, the riders thrashed up the slope like wolves sniffing blood. Hoofbeats, snow cracking, shouts carried by the wind. Too close. Way too close. Cole reached the northern fork, a split in the trail barely visible under the drifts. The right path slid downward toward the frozen creek. Open ground. Bad for running. Worse for hiding. The left path carved upward into sharper rock, an incline steep enough to break an ankle. He took the left. "Careful!" Kate called, breath slicing thin in the cold. "No time to be careful," Cole shot back, raising his voice just enough to cut through the wind. They scrambled up the incline, using numb hands against stone. Every step sent pebbles skittering. Every shift screamed their position to the riders below. Then Lily stiffened in Cole's arms. She tapped his collar, small, sharp. "Here." He froze. Hoofbeats weren't below them anymore. They were above. Cole looked up, ice filling his lungs. A rider slipped out from behind a stand of black pines on the upper ridge, cutting them off. Paint horse. Left front shoe missing. Webb. "Kate! Down!" Cole barked. A shot cracked the air. Stone chips exploded near Kate's shoulder. She dropped flat, sliding on her knees, clutching the satchel like it was part of her own ribs. Lily buried her face into Cole's coat. Cole rolled behind a boulder, shielding the girl. Another bullet whined past, slicing a cold line across his cheek. He tasted blood. Webb's laugh carried down the slope. "She ain't worth dying for, cowboy." Cole exhaled once. "Depends who you're asking." He peeked around the boulder. 1 second, no more. Webb aimed down at them, rifle steady. Cole fired. Not to kill. Webb had cover. But the shot smacked the rock near Webb's boot, spooking the paint horse. It reared, almost throwing him. Kate crawled toward Cole, panting. "We can't stay here." "No," he said. "We can't." Another shout rose from below. The second group was nearly on them, cutting upward, hemming them in. Kate's voice cracked. "Cole, I see it." To the left, half hidden by snow, sat a black tear in the rock wall. Small, narrow, but real. A cave mouth. Cole shifted Lily in his arms. "That's our door." Kate followed his gaze. "We don't know how deep it goes." "We don't need deep, just dark." He fired 2 shots in quick succession to force Webb back, then sprinted for the cave, boots slipping on loose frost. Kate ran beside him, skirts catching on branches, breath ragged. Another bullet shrieked past them and slapped into the rock. Lily screamed without sound, her whole body flinching against Cole's chest. "Inside," Cole ordered. Kate dove into the darkness first. Cole followed, ducking low, turning his body to shield Lily as a shot ricocheted off the cave's edge. Cold black swallowed them whole. The sound of their breathing filled the cave, fast, harsh, alive because it had to be. Cole crouched, adjusting Lily so she could cling to his coat. His eyes adjusted slowly, picking out jagged shapes. The cave narrowed ahead but didn't close. Kate pressed herself against the wall, one hand over her mouth to quiet her breath. "Are they?" A shadow moved past the entrance. A rider, then another. Then Webb's silhouette cut across the opening, the brim of his hat brushing the wind. "He's in there," Webb snarled. "Hartley's in that hole with the woman." Kate stiffened. Cole motioned her back, finger to his lips. Webb swung down from his saddle. Snow crunched under his boots. His torch flared to life, a harsh yellow bloom against the cave mouth. He stepped closer. "Y'all can come out," he taunted, "or I can drag you out." Kate's breath quivered. Lily clamped a hand over her own mouth. Cole raised his rifle, calculating angles. He had 1 clean shot, maybe 2. 1 to kill Webb, 1 to keep them moving, but firing from inside a cave meant flash, echo, giving away their depth. If he missed, Webb would charge in, and they'd be trapped with no daylight behind them. He lowered the rifle slightly. Not yet. Not like this. Webb shoved his torch deeper into the opening. The flames sputtered, licking the air. "Cowboy," he barked. "I'll count to 5. Cole whispered, barely audible. "He won't count." Webb didn't. He lunged forward, but the wind surged, slapping the torch sideways. Sparks sprayed. The horse outside reared violently, screaming, smashing its hooves against the ice. Webb cursed, losing balance for a breath. A breath was all they needed. Cole grabbed Kate's arm. "Run." "Which way?" "Forward. Into the dark." Kate didn't argue. She pulled Lily ahead of her, following the cave's narrowing gut. Cole backed after them, gun raised, steps controlled. Behind them, Webb roared in frustration. "I'll smoke you out!" Cole didn't look back. Move! Lily stumbled. Kate caught her. Cole steadied both with one arm. The cave bent left, tight, then right, tighter. The ceiling dipped low enough Cole had to hunch. Somewhere behind them, Webb fired into the dark. The bullet whined off stone, sparks flaring. Echoes crashed through the tunnel like thunder. Kate gasped. Cole, he's not backing off. No, Cole said, voice a steady blade. He never does. Another twist. Another bend. Then nothing. Just black. Black as a swallowed star. Cole exhaled, slow. We're in deep enough. He can't see us now. Lily pressed her forehead to his shoulder, shaking. Kate held the satchel tight. What now? Cole listened. To wind, to stone, to the cold breath of the mountain. Then he said the only thing that mattered. We find another way out. Or we make one. Outside, Webb's torch guttered. Inside, the dark pressed close. The mountain had them now. Cheyenne rose out of the snow like a city trying to stand straighter than the world allowed. Train whistles, church bells, smoke curling from brick chimneys, deadlines everywhere. The freight wagon rattled through Main Street. Cole stepped down first, lifting Lily, then helping Kate. The satchel stayed under her arm, close as breath. Rail office, Cole said. Your brother first, then the marshal. Kate nodded. She hadn't stopped gripping that satchel since the mountain. The sign over the window read, Thomas Hartley, Union Pacific Surveyor. Cole paused only a second before pushing the door open. Warmth, paper, ink, guilt. Thomas looked up. Same jawline as Cole, eyes more tired. Cole, you pick a hell of a morning? We're not here for coffee, Cole said. Kate set the satchel on his drafting table, opened it, and laid out the casings, the torn map, the route Daniel died walking. Thomas froze. Where'd you... From my husband's coat, Kate answered. From the ground he bled on. Lily stared at Thomas, unblinking. Cole slid forward the telegram copy he had tucked in the satchel. Your signature, 3 times, approving Blackwell's adjustments. Thomas swallowed. That land was supposed to be cleared. He said the owner agreed. He didn't, Kate said. He died refusing. The room tightened. A wagon outside hit an icy rut. The sound jolted Thomas like judgment. Tom, Cole said quietly. Blackwell used your pen to start a killing. You staying with him or not? Thomas's shoulders sagged, truth knocking the last air from him. Give me a form. He wrote. Payments, dates, meetings, Blackwell's wording, the lie that made Daniel a target. When he signed, his hand shook. Marshal Grant, Cole said. Now. Grant's badge looked worn from work, not polish. He listened sharp, eyes sweeping from Kate to Lily to Cole, then settling on the satchel. I need more than smoke, Grant said finally. Courts in this territory choke on maybes. A deputy burst in, breath fogging. Marshal, rider from Clearwater, name's Webb. Started a fight at the depot when someone mentioned Blackwell. Says he'll deal for a sentence. Grant stood. Bring him. In interview room 3, Webb sat chained, one eye swollen, blood crusted on his lip, swagger cracked at the edges. Grant leaned in. You give me Blackwell clean, orders, payments, names, and you might live longer than winter. Webb's eyes flicked to Lily, to Kate, to the satchel. He broke. Words spilled fast. Blackwell paying him to settle Daniel, to threaten Kate, to burn out any witness who talked. The phrase, "make the widow reasonable," hit the table like a hammer. That was the fire Grant needed. 3 days later, 12 boots lined the jury box. Blackwell wore a suit, but the meanness in his eyes didn't bother hiding. Kate testified first. Steady, plain, no theatrics. Lily sat front row, watching every word. Thomas followed, voice cracking only once. Webb gave the rest. The foreman rose. Guilty. All counts. The air released like a lung unclenching after months. Blackwell went to meet the rope. Webb to a cell with no sky. Thomas left the courthouse stripped of his job, but lighter in a way a man looks when he finally stops lying to himself. Cole, Kate, and Lily rode back toward the ridge. Clearwater looked the same. Snow, quiet, fences leaning, but something in the air had shifted. The foreclosure notice was gone. A sealed deed hung in its place. That evening, Kate climbed to the barn roof with the lantern. Cole steadied the ladder. Lily stood below, breath fogging in little clouds. "You sure?" Cole asked. "It should mean something kinder now," Kate said. She lit the wick. The flame caught. Small, stubborn, steady. Lily signed up at the glow, then at her chest. Home. Cole looked at the lantern burning in the cold. "Yeah," he said softly. "Home fits." The lantern no longer accused. It simply shone. Thank you for traveling with us through this winter tale of courage, faith, and a lantern that refused to go out. Stories like this remind us that even in the hardest seasons of life, kindness can still find its way home. If this journey touched your heart, please consider giving this video a like. It helps more folks discover these Western stories. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe so you can ride along with us for the next chapter. I'd love to hear from you. Which part stayed with you the most? Let me know in the comments below.